Hey there Wargamers, this is Justin from Amp Services with this week's X-Wing Wednesday video. In this particular video we're going to be discussing Palob Godalhi, however you say his name. We're going to be discussing this particular guy and his Hawk 290 and a build that I am finding absolutely amazing on this particular ship. So first of all, you'll notice, doing my little paint shout here, this guy is not the normal paint scheme. Haven't gotten any photos of him yet, but I went with a little bit of a warthog theme on the tip there, the teeth. I got the little Boba Fett Mandalorian looking dealio there, whatever you call it. And then you flip him over, and boom, Mandalorian symbol. So I thought he turned out pretty well. He looks pretty cool. He's definitely unique and stands out on the table. So hope you guys like it. If you didn't like to have me paint something like this for you, some custom X-Wing ships, be sure to check out my website and submit a quote request. I'd love to work on some more X-Wing stuff. Anyway, now I've got the obligatory paint description out of the way. Let's jump right in and talk about the pilot. So Palob here comes in at 20 points. He's got a 5 pilot skill, the standard Hawk stat line, which is not the best. The 2 evade is pretty much the highlight. The 1 attack value is awful. The 4 hull and 1 shield, he can take a little bit of punch, but not a lot. This is a fragile ship. If your evade dice aren't going good, he's going to have problems. The key to this ship, however, is his pilot ability, in conjunction with his gear. So his pilot ability says, at the start of the combat phase, you may remove 1 focus or evade token from an enemy ship at range 1 to 2 and assign it to yourself. Having that focus or evade is really nice, and evade in particular helps increase your survivability, assuming your opponent gives you opportunity to steal one. Stealing a focus is also really good because it's going to help scale well with the rest of his build, which we will talk about shortly. But it will also give you options for attacking and defending if your opponent gives you either one of those options. If they're smart to cancel Palob, if they get inside range 1 to 2, instead of throwing a focus or an evade, they're just going to target lock you. But if you're in a competitive tournament scene, if they know what he does at the start of the game, don't remind him in the middle of the game. Let him make that mistake and you can capitalize on it. That's what he's there for. So now, let's jump right into the gear upgrades here that I like to use. Now, there are a couple different options for his elite pilot talent you could go with. Veteran Instincts is a nice 1-point go-to. If you run Veteran Instincts on Palob, it's going to put him at a pilot skill 7, which is still mediocre. It's not high enough to really do much. And a pilot skill 5 is still higher than like Jump Masters and things like that, so it's still effective for getting some shots off. But I think Veteran Instincts is wasted on Palob. There are some other things that are more useful in my opinion. Now, if you watched my Cavill video, you may get the hint that I'm a big fan of the Atani Mind Link now, which I am, but this upgrade comes in at 1 point, and it reads, each time you are assigned a focus or stress token, each other friendly ship with a Tiny Mind Link must also be assigned the same type of token if it does not already have one. Now, just like this was for Cavill, this is also equally good for Palob. If you run a ship like Kato, let the Kato go first. Kato assigns himself a focus, then grants a focus to all the other Atani Mind Linked ships, which Palob would be one of. Then those ships take their turns and take their actions, and they are sitting on 1 focus already, possibly 2 if that's what they use their action for. So with Palob, if you use this particular piece of gear, you could be sitting on 1 focus from the first ship, and then a 2nd focus from his action, and because he's using Twin Laser Turret, you've now got a focus for both shots. Now, in conjunction with his pilot ability, you could be sitting on 3 focus, so Twin Laser shot number 1, focus, shot number 2, focus, and then if you get shot at, you have a focus, depending on if your opponent, gives you the option to steal one. Additionally, if you're somehow stressed, being able to steal a focus is particularly useful for you, and because you wouldn't be able to take an action. Now you've got something that comes from an action, and if you're utilizing the Mind Link correctly, if he's stressed, he should still have a focus from one of the other ships that grant it. Now, this is where the build kind of branches out. Now, I'm going to come back to Wired in just a second, but the Atani Mind Link and Palob and stress, it's huge to note with this particular build. So let's talk about Zuckuss first. So Zuckuss comes in at 1 point. Scum only. He reads, when attacking, you may receive any number of stress tokens to choose an equal number of defense dice. The defender must re-roll those dice. This is huge. I use this with Twin Laser Turret, which we will discuss shortly, but anytime your opponent shoots, or anytime you shoot at your opponent, you can take stress tokens to make them re-roll their successful defenses. Now, if you read this correctly, When attacking, you may receive any number of stress. Atani says assign. There is a difference between receiving and assigning tokens, to my knowledge, just like there are between free actions and non-free actions. So, for example, if you're allowed to do a free action and you're stressed, you're not allowed to do that. But if something assigns you a focus, that is not the same as taking a focus action. And unless there's something in the fact I've missed, there's a difference between receiving and assigning, just like there's a difference between a free action, non-free action, and assigning and so forth. So when you're using Palob, he could potentially steal a focus. Let's say for example you're shooting with Palob, and you make your opponent reroll 3 evades. So you take 3 stress. That's minimum 3 turns to clear him. You've got a tiny mind link, so your buddies can help give him a focus when he otherwise can't take one, and he can potentially steal focus. That helps get by the negative of Zuckuss and helps you get damage through. Now, when you use Zuckuss, a tiny mind link, and twin laser turret, which, the twin laser turret comes in at 6 points, and it reads, perform this attack twice, even against a ship outside your firing arc. Each time this attack hits, the defender suffers 1 damage, then cancel all dice results. When you're using Zuckuss and a tiny mind link together in conjunction with twin laser turret, you really have good odds of forcing damage through, particularly on ships with high evade dice, because you can make them re-roll them. And as you guys may know, the green dice are fickle. And because you have 2 attacks here, anytime Palob's sitting on 2 focus, your chances of hitting really increase with twin laser turret, because you have 2 shots. Now, if you aren't interested in synergizing your build, there is a different elite pilot talent card you can run. So let's ignore a tiny mind link for just a moment. Let's flip that face down. And let's talk about Wired. Now, Wired comes in at 1 point and it reads, when attacking or defending, if you are stressed, you may reroll 1 or more of your eye results. That also combos really well with Zuckuss. If you are interested in running an tiny mind link build, you run Zuckuss, twin laser turret, and Wired. So the moment that you take a stress to make them re-roll, or your stress period, but the moment you make them re-roll some evade dice and you take a stress, if that was on your first twin laser shot, on your second twin laser shot, you get to re-roll your eye results. So if you are already stressed, you're only able to sit on 1 focus that you steal, if even that. At least this Wired is going to give you increased chances of hitting because you get to re-roll the eye results. So this is going to combo well with Zuckuss and twin laser turret when you're trying to shoot and you're not wanting to run a synergistic team. Now, from the list I've run in particular, a tiny mind link works, in my opinion, better on Palob than Wired if you can fly it well and if you have at least 3 total ships with the mind link. Palob, Kato, and a Sikh fighter are really good, or Palob, Kato, and Cavill. They work really well together. Just depends on what you want to do and getting comfortable flying. So what do you guys think? Have you tried this combo? Have you tried a Wired combo on a Hawk before? Let me know. I've tried this before, or similar build to this particular one on Jan Orsh for the Rebels with Wired and twin laser turret because of her pilot ability and being able to give someone extra attack dice, and it works pretty well. You'd be surprised how often the rerolls on your eyeballs for attacks and defense are actually really effective. So let me know. Is this a build you want to try? Have you done it before? Is there something you would tweak? Let's get a discussion started down below. If you haven't already, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and also check us out on Facebook. You'll be able to keep up to date with all of our current commissions and promotions. Finally, I do get paid to paint, and as you saw, this is one of my custom painted miniatures. He's not up on Facebook yet. I have not gotten around to taking photos of him, so you get a nice exclusive look. Pew pew, look at me. So if you would like me to paint some X-Men miniatures for you, please take a moment to click Quote Request Now. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you consider subscribing and also maybe consider checking out our Patreon and supporting the page if you like what I'm sharing with you guys. Again, hope you enjoyed. As always, happy wargaming.